Welcome back. Today we are jumping right into the very core of decentralized finance.
Yeah, right into the engine room.
Mm.
If you've ever used a protocol like Uniswap or Curve, or even just swapped a token on an aggregator, you've touched the thing we're talking about today.
Absolutely. We're talking about automated market makers, AMMs, and liquidity pools. These two ideas, they're the bedrock of modern DeFi.
They really are.
So our mission for this deep dive is to get into the why and the how. Why were AMMs even invented? How did they manage to turn regular users like you into market makers? And this is the big one. What is this hidden risk everyone talks about called impermanent loss?
And look, if you only remember one thing from today, make it this. AMMs replaced order books with math, and liquidity pools replaced professional market makers with you.
That's the whole revolution right there.
In a nutshell, yeah.
And to really get why that's so revolutionary, you have to look at what came before, because the old system was just completely broken for the blockchain.
Exactly. In traditional finance or TradFi, everything runs on something called an order book.
Right, just a big list of bids and asks.
A huge live list of what buyers are willing to pay and what sellers want to sell for. And it works, but it needs a few things to actually function.
It's like a three-legged stool, right? If
Yeah.
one leg is missing, the whole thing falls over.
That's a great way to put it. First, you need just massive, massive liquidity. We're talking millions, often billions, from professional market-making firms.
Okay, so big money.
Big money. Second, you need a super fast, centralized matching engine to pair up all those bids and asks instantly. And third, you need almost zero friction. Transactions have to be in milliseconds, and the cost to place or cancel an order has to be basically nothing.
So when the first crypto developers tried to just, copy and paste that model onto an early blockchain?
They hit a brick wall, a concrete wall. None of those three things existed.
Not even one?
Not at all. Think about early chains. Block times were slow, minutes, not milliseconds.
So trying to cancel an order because the price moved.
Forget about it. It would take forever and cost you an arm and a leg in gas fees. The friction was just enormous.
And there were no big institutions back then? No professional market makers ready to jump in? So the liquidity was, almost zero?
Pretty much non-existent. The order books were empty. So if you tried to trade anything, the gap between the best buy price and the best sell price, the spread was huge. You'd get a terrible price.
So they realized copying Wall Street was just a dead end?
Completely doomed. And that led to this really radical question. What if we just get rid of the order book entirely? What if we start trying to match people and just let math set the price?
And that's the birth of the AM, the automated market maker.
That's the genesis. It's genius because it's so simple. Instead of a messy list of orders, the price is just set by a single, clean mathematical formula.
The famous one, of course, is the one Uniswap pioneered. It sounds a bit scary, but it's just X times Y equals K.
Exactly, the constant product formula. Yeah. And it's not scary at all once you break it down. Imagine a pool with two tokens, maybe ETH and USDC.
Okay.
X is just the total amount of ETH in the pool.
Yeah.
Y is the total amount of USDC.
Okay.
And K is the magic number. It's a constant. The formula's only job is to make sure that K value never, ever changes.
So the total product is fixed. The only thing that can change is the ratio of ETH to USDC in the pool.
Precisely. Let's say you come to the pool to buy some ETH. You are taking ETH or X out of the pool.
And putting USDC or Y into it.
Right. And because K has to stay constant, the formula automatically dictates that the price of the ETH that's left has to go up.
Because there's less of it now and more USDC. Supply and demand, basically.
It's exactly that, but automated. The formula instantly recalculates the new exchange rate for the very next person based on that new ratio. It creates a smooth price curve instead of a clunky list of orders.
So no need for speed, no central server, no market makers updating their quotes.
None of it. Just the math. It's a really elegant solution that works perfectly with the slowness of a blockchain.
But that brings us back to that first problem. Liquidity. If we've gotten rid of the big professional firms, who's putting the ETH and USDC in the pool in the first place?
And that is the second brilliant innovation. Liquidity pools, which are filled by liquidity providers, or LPs.
Which is just regular users, right?
It's you, it's me. Anyone. Since they couldn't get institutions, they just incentivized the users themselves to become the market.
So instead of a hedge fund putting in $100 million, I can just show up with, say, $1,000.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
You deposit an equal value of both tokens. So maybe $500 of ETH and $500 of USDC into that pool. And just like that, you are a liquidity provider. You own a small slice of that entire pool.
And that's how they solved the bootstrapping problem. They just crowdsourced the liquidity.
They decentralized the market-making function itself. It was revolutionary.
So why would I do that? I mean, besides helping the ecosystem, what's in it for me?
Fees. Every single time someone makes a trade in that pool, a tiny swap fee is charged, usually something like 0.3%.
Okay.
That fee doesn't go to the protocol. It goes into a pot that gets split proportionally among all the LPs. So if you own 1% of the pool, you get 1% of all the trading fees.
And in a high volume pool, those fees can really add up.
They absolutely can. And often, especially with newer protocols, they'll throw in extra incentives like giving you their own protocol tokens on top of the fees. That's what people call yield farming.
So it's a powerful way to attract capital. That's why people call these pools the heart of DeFi, right? Because without them, nothing else works.
It's the absolute foundation of on-chain trading.
Okay, that sounds amazing. A totally passive strategy. You deposit 2 assets, sit back, and just collect fees. But this being DeFi, I'm waiting for the catch.
And there is always a catch.
And the catch here has a name: impermanent loss, or IL.
And this is probably the single most misunderstood concept in DeFi, and the most important one for any potential LP to understand. This is not a risk-free return.
Okay, so let's define it as simply as possible. What is it?
Impermanent loss is what happens when the prices of the 2 tokens you deposited change relative to each other. The loss isn't a loss in dollars, necessarily. It's a loss compared to what you would have had if you just held the original assets in your wallet.
Okay, a comparison to just holding. We need a concrete example here. Let's go back to our ETH and USDC pool.
Perfect. Let's use easy numbers. You deposit 1 ETH and 1,000 USDC. At the time, let's say 1 ETH is worth $1,000. So you've put in $2,000 total.
Got it. Now, let's say a month goes by and ETH just pumps. It doubles in price to $2,000. If I had just held my assets in my wallet, I'd now have 1 ETH worth $2,000 and my original 1,000 USDC, total value, $3,000.
Correct. Your holding value is $3,000. But your assets aren't in your wallet. They're in the AM pool. And the AMM's formula, XYOK, has a job to do.
To keep the balance.
Exactly. As the market price of ETH goes up, traders arbitrageurs see an opportunity. They can buy the cheap ETH from your pool and sell it for a profit on another exchange.
So they're basically rebalancing the pool for you and taking a profit for it.
That's the mechanism. And in doing so, they are buying your ETH and adding USDC. The AMM is forced to automatically sell your appreciating asset, your ETH, to maintain that constant K value.
So when I go to withdraw my funds, what do I have?
Well, the math will work out, so you'll have less ETH than you started with and more USDC. You might withdraw, say, 0.7 ETH and 1,400 USDC.
Okay, so let's do the math on that. 0.7 ETH at the new price of $2,000 is $1,400 plus the 1,400 USDC. My total is $2,800.
And what was your holding value?
$3,000.
Yep.
So that $200 difference, that's the impermanent loss.
That's it. The AMM sold your winner for you on the way up.
Yeah.
The loss is purely relative to what you would have had by just holding.
So the hope is that the trading fees you earned over that month are more than that $200 IL.
That's the entire trade-off. You accept the risk of IL in exchange for earning fees. Sometimes you win, sometimes you would have been better off just holding. Understanding that is everything.
And it's called impermanent because if the price of ETH went back down to $1,000 before you withdrew, that loss would shrink and maybe even disappear.
Exactly. It only becomes a real permanent loss the moment you withdraw.
It's a fascinating risk. But even with that risk, the impact AMMs have had is just transformative. They didn't just improve on-chain trading, they enabled a whole new type of finance.
A completely new architecture.
Yep.
And you can break that impact down into maybe 4 key areas.
Let's do it. First up is democratization.
Before AMMs, being a market maker was a club for institutions with huge capital. Now, anyone with some tokens and an internet connection can provide liquidity and earn fees. That's a massive shift of power.
Okay, second.
Instant launch. This is huge.
Yeah.
For a new project to get listed on a big exchange used to be a long, expensive political process.
Right, you had to get approval.
Now, a new project can just create a liquidity pool for their new token paired with, say, USDC. They add a little bit of their own capital, and bam, they've instantly created a global 24/7 trading market for their asset. No permission needed.
Total game changer. Third is just global accessibility. No downtime, no bank holidays.
The math is always on. And the final point, which is maybe the most important for understanding the rest of DeFi, is composability.
The idea of money Legos.
Exactly. I love that term. Because AMMs are open and on-chain, Other smart contracts can plug directly into them. Think about an aggregator like 1inch.
They don't have their own liquidity, right?
None. They're just a smart contract that scans all the different AMM pools, Uniswap, SushiSwap, Curvebean, and routes your one trade through whichever pools give you the best possible price.
So it's building on top of the AMMs.
It's using them like Lego blocks. Or think of a yield aggregator like Yearn Finance. They build complex strategies that automatically move capital between different AMM pools to chase the best fees and incentives for you. These higher-level strategies can only exist because AMMs provide that foundational, composable layer of liquidity.
So without AMMs, the rest of the DeFi ecosystem pretty much falls apart.
It wouldn't exist as we know it today. They are the engine.
So to bring it all home then, it comes back to that one sentence.
It does. AMMs made decentralized markets possible on-chain, and liquidity pools turned users into the market makers.
A perfect summary. But, we focused entirely on trading and exchanges. If AMMs solve the problem of decentralized trading, what about the other side of finance? What about credit and lending?
That's the perfect question to end on. Because if AMMs created a new kind of on-chain exchange, the next layer of infrastructure created a new kind of on-chain bank. Protocols like Aave and Compound took this same concept of user-supplied liquidity pools. But instead of for trading, they use it to build trustless, algorithmic lending markets. And that's where we'll go next.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, everyone, for joining us for this deep dive.
Thank you for learning with us.